Almost every girl has looked at her ex at least once in her life and through, damn, how did I even end up dating this guy? And the funniest part is that after the breakup, all of his red flags suddenly become so obvious that it's honestly a little embarrassing. That's exactly why I want to tell you about 7 types of guys I wouldn't even recommend starting a relationship with, because almost all of these red flags are visible right from the beginning, if you know where to look. The first type is the guy who acts like a victim and is looking for a girl to save him. You have just started talking, he tells you about every negative thing that's happened in his life, and you can't help but think, damn, this guy has had such bad luck. He always shifts the responsibility for everything that happens in his life onto other people. His ex turned out to be a psychopath, his boss was a complete idiot, his friends betrayed him, his parents never understood him. And you know what? 1 or 2 stories like that are completely normal. We have all met unpleasant people. Everyone has had a terrible boss or a toxic ex at some point. But when every single story being the one to blame while he's always completely innocent, I immediately start asking myself a very serious question. Because you know what's interesting? If a person isn't capable of saying once in a while, yeah, I messed up here, then he won't say it in your relationship either. You have an argument, somehow it's your fault. He forgets your anniversary, you're being too dramatic. He hurts your feeling, somehow you provoke him. No matter what's happened, responsibility always magically ends up on someone else's shoulders. So how do you avoid guys like this? Just pay attention to the way he talks about people from his past. If every single person in his stories turns out to be a terrible person, well, he's the only unfortunate victim of circumstance, then there is a very good chance that a year from now he will be telling his next girlfriend the story of yet another crazy ex, and unfortunately, that crazy ex will be you. The second type is a guy who doesn't respect people. He respects their status. Around his boss, he is polite and respectful. Around a waiter, he is just rude. At the beginning of a relationship, almost everyone tries to show the best version of themselves. That's why it's much better to pay attention to how he treats people he doesn't need anything from. The waiter, the delivery driver, the cashier, because sometimes around you he's polite, attentive, and smiling. But the second a waiter gets his order wrong, his tone completely changes. Suddenly he is rude, rolling his eyes, acting like a poor guy just committed to crime. But what's even worse is when his boss or someone with a higher status walks in. Suddenly the exact same guy is standing there almost at attention, agreeing with every single word and laughing at jokes that aren't even funny. A person like that doesn't respect people, he only respects status. And one day you might stop being special for him too. And when that happens, there are a very good chance that the same disrespect the waiter gets today will be directed at you instead. The next step is a guy who has no life of his own. He always wants to spend time with you, replies to your text within 10 seconds, and is ready to see you every single day. At first, a lot of girls actually like that. You think, well, I must be really important to him. But after a few months, you start noticing something strange. He has no hobbies, no friends he has hung out with, no goals or passions of his own. It feels like his entire life now revolves around you. And that's exactly what becomes the problem that slowly destroys the relationship. When you want to spend an evening with your friends, he gets upset. When you want some time alone, he doesn't understand why. When you are busy with your work or school, he gets bored because he literally has nothing else to do. Little by little, you stop being his girlfriend and become his only source of entertainment, his therapist, his best friend, and the entire purpose of his life. And honestly, that's not romantic at all. A healthy relationship is when two people have their own lives, their own interests, friends, and dreams, and then choose to share those lives with each other. The first type is the clone. Now, I'm not talking about guys with a good sense of humor. Quite the opposite. If someone can make you laugh, that's a huge green flag. But there is one type of guy who seems permanently stuck in clone mode and simply can't turn it off even when it actually matters. At first, Dating a guy like this is a lot of fun. You're always laughing, he can make a joke out of almost anything, and you're never bored when you're around him. But sooner or later, the moment comes when you want to talk about something important. Maybe you want to understand where your relationship is going or how he sees your future together. And do you know what he does? He turns it into a joke. You tell him it hurts your feelings, and he just smiles and says, "Come on, I was just kidding." You will put on an entire stand-up show just to avoid answering any serious question. And that's where it becomes a real problem. Because every relationship eventually breeds conversations that can't be solved with a joke. You have to be able to listen to the other person, admit when you are wrong, talk about the future, or simply say how you really feel. If a guy constantly escapes these conversations by hiding behind humor, then the problem isn't that he's too funny. The problem is that he's probably just not ready for a real adult relationship. And the last guy, the guy who only loves you when it's convenient for him. At first everything feels perfect. He texts you every morning, wishes you a great day, always wants to see you, showers you with compliments, and tells you he's never met a girl like you before. And you start thinking, wow, did I really get this lucky? And then he just disappears. He simply stops texting for no reason and without any argument. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. And you are sitting there staring at your phone, wondering if something happened to him. Maybe he's sick, maybe something went wrong, and then he suddenly comes back as if nothing ever happened. Yes, this is the type of guy who gets you addicted to emotional roller coasters and only uses you when he needs something. But when you need attention, affection, or simply wants to talk, he doesn't care. When he is lonely, bored, or wants attention, he texts you. When everything is going well in his life, he can easily live without you. And honestly, it's very easy to mistake this for love. When someone disappears for a few days and then suddenly comes back, showering you with attention again, it feels like they just missed it out that much. You get used to these emotional highs and lows incredibly fast. Today you are the most important person in his life. Tomorrow he acts like you don't even exist. And before you know it, you start living for those short moments. When he becomes the guy you fell in with love again, if every single day you are wondering whether he will text you back this time, then maybe the problem isn't that you are not good enough. Maybe the one problem is that he wants your attention, but he doesn't want the responsibility that comes with being in a relationship. Almost all of these red flags doesn't suddenly appear a year into a relationship. They were there from the very beginning. The problem is that when we really like someone, our brain starts working against us. We find excuses for literally everything. He just tired, he's going through a difficult time right now, he's actually a good guy, that's just how he is. And the more excuses we make, the deeper we pull ourselves into a story that's much harder to get out of later. So, if you recognized your boyfriend in one of these points after watching this video, don't panic. Nobody is perfect, and one red flag doesn't automatically make someone a bad person. But if you were listening to this video and caught yourself thinking, damn, this is literally him during almost every point, then maybe it's time to honestly ask yourself one very uncomfortable question. Are you actually in love with this person? Or are you in love with the version of him that you created in your own head? If you would like to share your own stories or tell about some red flags you have experienced, leave in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you in next video.